All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, my name is Jon Jarvis. I'm the director of Tridium Training. And today we're going to be talking about the Niagara Tridium University that is brand new, that was launched on December 9th of 2021. Again, for today's session, we're going to be going through an overview, a live demonstration, and then answering any of the questions that you may have. And so if you have a question, the way we're handling questions is that there's a Q&A function. It basically looks like two little bubbles. Just go ahead and enter your questions through the chat. We won't be taking any live questions over audio, but you can enter those questions and we will take different times during the presentation to try to answer all your questions today. So as I said, for today's agenda, we'll just give an overview of the Tridium University site as well as the program. We'll dive into a live demonstration, which will be the majority of today's presentation. And then obviously this is interactive, so if you have questions, we want to answer those to our best of our ability. So Tridium University is the learning Internet of Things platform for over 25,000 Niagara community users. It provides a scalable delivery for all of our training. So it's the delivery system for our training, which could be instructor-led training, which would be your traditional classroom training. We also do virtual classroom training, especially with a lot of the safety concerns and constraints with COVID. We've been doing a lot of virtual live instructor classroom training over the course of the last 2 years, as well as self-paced e-learning. And depending on the audience that we're teaching to, a lot of these trainings are specific to your role, whether you're a sales and consulting engineer on the front end for speccing a job. We have training for that, as well as detail install and configuration of the system as a system integrator for commissioning these systems in your buildings and campuses, as well as operator end user training for those that have these systems installed and need to do facility management at their location. We also have the ability to do training from a developer perspective to build custom applications on top of the Niagara framework, and we offer that class as well. All these classes, or most all these classes, provide a curriculum-based certification, whether it's your focus is around building automation, developer analytics, access and security control, and all these things are competency-based, where at the end of the training, it's typically involved with a final exam to validate your skills with the solution. We have a full range of certified training partners around the globe, whether it's OEMs like Johnson Controls, Siemens, Honeywell, and others, just tech controls that can deliver these trainings. We have a lot of our large distributors like Cochrane Supply and others that also provide training, as well as independent trainers around the globe like MOV, One Site Solution. We have Think Tech, as well as others that are independent trainers to deliver those training. And so we provide it on a global scale. So depending on where you're located in the world, these trainings are provided in a lot of the different countries in their local languages. And we provide training that's not only for commercial projects as well as academia. So we've actually have a college and university program that we've launched in China over the last few years, and we're looking to grow that program internationally around the globe. So for today's demonstration, we're going to show the new user interface and the new portal. We've updated the FAQs, locations, instructor, and partner pages. We have better global search. We've built topics that have grouping of courses to easily find courses based on certain topics. It has built-in live notifications as different statuses change. For instance, as you go from requesting a class to being enrolled in a class, or maybe receiving your certificate, you get notified of those. We have an improved enrollment process where you request a class. You would either be enrolled for that class after you pay, or for all of our free classes, you can just go ahead and start those classes right up. And just a general better navigation and graphical user interface, very similar to what you would see with a lot of the online subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and others, because we're leveraging the technology used by technology companies, including Google, Facebook, Amazon, and others is the backbone technology that we're using for this learning management system. So with that, I'll pause. I see there's no questions, so we'll just jump right into the live demonstration. Okay, so to get to the Tridium University site, you can just log in at tridiumuniversity.com. It's a secure site to access that. Or if you typically come in through www.tridium.com, you can also access it here. Up in the upper right-hand corner, just click on Tridium University, and that will take you to the main front page. And you can see we have a very simple, elegant user interface, okay? A lot of it being driven by kind of a pictorial view, things like that. Across the top here, we have a couple of our menus. I'll walk you through these as well as walk you through the whole page. So with this, you know, if you're taking a training class at a particular location at one of our training sites at Tridium, just go to location here. And here you'll find detailed information about it. So I'll just bump this up so it's a little bit easier to read. So here we can see it's broken down by the Americas, Europe, or Asia Pacific. With this, I can zoom in on the map location. I can go to a satellite view if I'd like and get a little bit closer to find out where that training exists. We can also see the exact address. We have a list of different hotels that you can stay at. So for instance, I want to go to one that's within walking distance here. I can just click on the Marriott Courtyard and go ahead and book my room for the length of the class. Going back to the locations here, if we look at Europe and Middle East, we have a couple locations both in London as well as Dubai. Again, as we look at these different locations here, we can click to enlarge map with Google integration for our Google Maps here. Again, see the location of where the training is happening here at the barn in Coolum, UK. That's where the Tridium office is in UK. And again, we can also take a look at various locations in Asia Pacific. So for instance, we have several locations in China, I think Shanghai, Beijing, and Tianjin, as well as Malaysia and Pune, India. So for instance, if I'm interested in going to a class, happen to be in near Beijing or in Tianjin, again, I can click on the map here, and all these maps are in the local languages. So here it's pulling up the Baidu map for China. So I know exactly how to get to and from my location to the training center at the Tianjin University. Okay. We also have a list of all of our instructors. Okay, so with our instructors, we have their pictures as well as their biographical backgrounds. So we know how long they've been at Tridium, as well as their experience and years in the industry. So here you can see the 4 trainers that we have in the Americas. For Europe and Middle East, we have up to 8 instructors. So our team continues to grow to support the training in Europe and Middle East. In Asia Pacific, we also have an additional 7 trainers with the addition of a new trainer that's based out of Southeast Asia. Furthermore, we have a whole host of certified training partners around the globe. So you can look under any one of these. We have their logos. We also have, what languages they teach in. So for instance, Distech is able to teach in both English and French or Canadian French. Johnson Controls here, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. So again, we can look at any one of these sites. For instance, if we want to look at Bardell Technical Training, takes you directly to their page. Or for instance, if you're interested in taking training in access control and security, just go to the Jackson Control site. Here you can see the classes that they offer. For enterprise security, they have one here coming up on January 1st, as well as other types of courses as well. So again, taking you directly to those certified training partners so that you can just go right there. As well as in Europe and Middle East, we have several new training partners here located at the bottom. So this one, actually, we have now one in Eastern Europe. So again, just opening their site. Again, you can have the site in the local language of Croatian or English, and then go to their training site to learn more about the training that they offer. And then lastly, in Asia Pacific, we have a training partner in China, as well as 2 in India and 1 in Australia. So again, we'll just take a quick look at our Australian partner. And here you can see the various types of Niagara courses that they offer, everything from Tridium Niagara 4, IoT training, and so forth and so on. So if we wanted to explore the Niagara 4 training courses that they offer, you can see that they offer TCP Advanced and an Extend course, as well as Analytics and Crossover and an Operator course. So again, just taking a quick gander, this is a great way to kind of see what, if you can't get in a Tridium class, or you need to have one in a local language, just go here to the partner page and you'll get the same training that you get, but it might be specific based on the brand or locale that you happen to live in. So let's jump back to the home page. Okay, and so as we look at this, we can also look for different types of training based on different topics, whether it's certification programs, e-learning courses, popular self-paced e-learning. So let's take a look at some popular self-paced e-learning. So maybe I'm interested in the Pro Tip series, which are typically offered by James Johnson and Kevin Mamajak. So I might be interested in learning more about Niagara security services and security dashboards. Brings me to this page. We see this is free training. I can just launch that and go right to the 9-minute YouTube discussion on the training with Kevin Mamajak kind of explaining the functionality here. So you can watch it kind of as the embedded or go to a full screen. Okay. I can also do searches, global searches right within the system. So I can just put in a keyword like security, do a search on that. So it's going to filter based on that. Or I can also log into the system. Okay, so when I log in, I want to make sure that I put in my username and password. This is going to be the same username and password that you had for the old site, which again is your Niagara community user. We use single sign-on, so whatever you use for that. I just want to highlight it. Lots of folks sometimes forget their password or can't remember their username. So again, if you forgot the password, don't create a new account. Okay, you'll want to just try to do the forgot password, put in that email, and then you'll get an email to create a new password. Again, if you can't remember your password or forgot your password doesn't work, then you can just go to the sign up page here, fill in some basic information, including your email, and then it'll send you an email back to set up a specific unique password for yourself. And again, it's a very simple process. It only takes a few seconds to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my password here. Okay. Go ahead and sign in. Okay, and so now based on that global search, I can see all the courses that have security functionality either in the title or in any of the keywords that I've set up in the system. So maybe I'm interested in access control. I can learn about the introduction to enterprise security here and just go ahead and get started, launch the course. Okay, since this is a free course, there's nothing stopping me from taking this course. I can jump to the various benefits. Maybe I'm interested to learn about integrated access control. Okay. We have the various script information. You can kind of look at it from a closed caption perspective. So as Laura is actually talking about the different topics, you can see kind of the closed caption located here in the bottom. You can also see other additional resources that are up here in the upper right-hand corner. And again, anytime I decide that I've gone through some training, maybe this is a short one, I can finish it in one sitting. But if I don't, I can just stop the course and then it'll actually bookmark it so that I can resume and pick up where I left off. So again, just hit the resume button and it picks up right where I left off. Okay, so has that nice bookmark functionality built right within the system. Right, so let's go back to home here. So as I've been working on different courses, you can also see under the continued learning here. So I've started this course, so now it's added to my continuous learning, just like if I started a new show like episode 2 of Game of Thrones. I only watched half of it. I want to come back to it, so it now puts it in my continued learning bin located down here. And we'll see that kind of build up throughout the course of this demonstration. Okay, so let's take a look at our banner row across the top here. So any of our event-based courses, so these are ones that you would typically take that would be like instructor-led training or virtual instructor-led training. So we'll take a look at all of our events. So here you can see all of our events in chronological order. I can search these events based on any keyword. So for instance, maybe I'm interested in the ones in Europe, or actually let's just go to Asia Pac. Maybe we have more folks overseas, Asia Pacific. Okay, so here I can see all the courses that are offered both in January, February for Asia Pacific. Okay. I can also do different filters. So for instance, maybe I'm going to filter based on the ones that are maybe just in Melbourne, Australia, or maybe I want to look at the ones that are just virtual. Okay, so we can do that kind of sorting. I also can do which ones are going to be offered next week. So here you can see the ones that are going to be offered next week versus next month. Okay, we do have this virtual only checkbox. Ignore that from right now. The way we handle virtual is through the location. If I do virtual, this is going to be tied to some built-in functionality where we would have the actual URL for like the WebEx and things like that. We haven't done that integration yet, so that's kind of turned off for right now, but just make a note of that. So again, also, it'll keep track of my events or other events that I've requested right under this tab here. Okay, so let's go back to the home here. Catalog is going to actually have all the events plus all the e-learning. So here we can see filters of the information based on the duration. So which ones are kind of a short, 5 minutes or less, maybe medium in length or longer assets that I might be interested in. The difficulty based on a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So if I wanted to look at more advanced topics, so here you can see like the Niagara 4 Advanced TCP, e-signature, and others. So maybe I'm interested in actually looking at a beginner course, a longer one here where I can actually get a certificate. And maybe I'm interested in this Niagara 4 operator end user class. Okay, so this is a self-paced e-learning, but you'll notice that this one is not free. It requires administrative approval. Okay, so you'll see here once you request it, send payment, and here's details on how to make that payment. So I'll just go ahead and hit request. Okay, click here for payment. Okay, and it's going to take me to the FAQs page where right at the top shows me exactly how to make a payment. So for e-learning, my options are I can do purchase order, credit card, or a company check. Okay, depending, purchase orders would be for those that actually have reseller agreements and instructions how to do that, as well as instructions for the various other regions, and includes our cancellation policy. And this FAQs also has all types of information about navigation, sign up, enrollment, and again, this is a living document that we will continue to update. So again, if you have a question, check the FAQs first just to see if the information is explained there. And if not, you can always send an email to training@tridium.com. Okay. So under the catalog here, I think we were looking at actually taking that. It was a long course for beginner, earn an award. Okay. And I requested the operator class. So breaking out my credit card, going to send my payment. So we'll just kind of assume that we've made that transaction. So I'll need to now pretend to be Kathy McElrath, our administrator. She would go in and look for me as a user. Actually go into the request bin here. And we'll see that Jon Jarvis here has requested the Niagara 4 operator class. So once I've paid, she will approve my request. And now I will go back as my learner view. Okay. And so here up in the upper right-hand corner, we see a notification. This operator class has been approved. And now I can just go ahead and click on this and read the simple disclaimer that I have 60 days to complete it. and just hit the getting started and launch the asset, just like I did with enterprise security. So again, I can jump to any section here. So maybe I'm interested in learning how to use the workbench. I can jump to that section.
Now, part number C that talks about connecting to a J6 if we have one. We don't.
Here, nice thing about this, we have kind of picture in picture here with the instructor. He's going through the different labs. I can go back here where it's actually showing him working in the workbench. We can also kind of follow along with the script. We have resources where we include the full lab exercise. So again, to go through the, to follow along with a more traditional lab exercise that I could go out and just go ahead and print this if I wanted to, or, put it on my tablet and follow along, in a PDF viewer. And again, just like other courses, I can just stop it, and then it'll pick up from where I was to resume. Okay, so going back to the home page here, now that I've started that, right, we expect that it's now been added to my continued learning. So here you can see I can just pick up where I left off with that section there. Okay, one of the things that we also have is with this, you can add different courses to your plan. So you just add this path to the plan, and then it will show up in my training. Some of these automatically get added, but if it doesn't, you can just add it with that simple click of the button there. So again, go to my training, which is basically your plan. So here I can see I've got the introduction to enterprise security, Niagara 4 operator training. Again, I can just click on that, go back to resume that asset if I want to. One of the things I highly suggest for those of you when you first get started is we have a getting started video. Again, it's less than 2 minutes. It walks you through a lot of the basics. Obviously, I'm going through a lot of those here, but you might have other users of the system and they just need a quick introduction. So this takes you through everything from how to sign in, how to start a class, how to get your certificates, and so forth and so on. And again, it's only a 2-minute video, so it shouldn't take very long to kind of watch. Okay, now a lot of folks are interested in taking our certification classes. So we've got those under this kind of Get Certified banner. So here you can see we've got the various TCP classes in different regions, the advanced, the developer, analytics, crossover, as well as signature. And we should be hosting a enterprise security class. We're working on getting one of those offered probably in the April to May timeframe. Stay tuned on that. But let's say, for instance, I'm interested in taking a TCP class. So here I can see the different classes that are offered in the Americas. So for instance, I would just go ahead and request a class. Okay, so again, with that request, right? Again, this is a paid course, so I need to click here for payment. So again, just remembering how to make that payment for the different regions. So we'll mimic that again. So I'll just go in and now approve that after the payment has been done. Okay, so here's the Niagara 4 for that class. And just go ahead and approve that. One of the nice things is not only do you get a notification in the upper right-hand corner here where I've now been approved, but also from an email perspective, it will send me an automatic email. So here, I'll just pull this over. And so here you can see that I've received the email, says that I'm enrolled for this particular class, gives me instructions on how to go to the resource tab for the agenda, work, and setup, includes the details about the cancellation policy, so forth and so on. So again, you get an email. You also have the built-in notification from the site, so you know exactly whether that payment has been processed. So let's go ahead now and jump into the course. Now the page has changed, as you can see, and you see under here where it says to get ready, go to the resource tabs for the agenda, pre-work, and setup. So we'll just go to the resource center. So here I've got a Niagara 4 primer. Okay, so this is a nice little getting started to Introduction to Niagara 4. Has about 7 modules. Just go and click on the Get Started, launch this asset. Okay. Again, I can jump to any section here, close caption, scripts, you name it, and just finish that asset at a later time. Again, as I'm working through this list, you can see that now under my continued learning, I got the Introduction to Niagara 4, I got my TCP course, I got my operator and user and my enterprise security that I've all started here as well. And again, if I go to look at my training and going back to the TCP here under the resource tabs, I might be interested in looking at the agenda as well as the virtual training environment, because this is a virtual class. Okay, so we'll open the agenda. So here we have the latest and greatest agenda. I know what's going to happen on days 1 through 5, the 5th day being the certification exam. And then pre-course material giving me the details on the setup for my hardware setup, my software setup, how to get set up for WebEx, and when will I receive the class login, student manuals, and so forth and so on. So everything I needed to know right off the bat, and that's provided to you as soon as you are now officially enrolled in the class. Okay, so going back to home here. So let's say at this point, I've taken the class, I've taken the 5-day TCP class, the instructor has graded my exam and I've passed. So we'll go ahead and mimic that. So under the administration here, we'll just do a quick look for Jon Jarvis. And I need to do that from a user perspective. So let me go ahead and search for Jonathan Jarvis. There I am. We'll go ahead and edit and look for the TCP course. And now this is what the administrator would do. We'll get the information from the instructor that I've passed on. I passed the class at the end of this week. The score that I got was 100%, and we'll go ahead and save that. Okay, so again, going back to my learner view, I get a notification. I also get an email. I've received the award. Okay, so here's my TCP, and automatically puts my name, the certification that I got, the date that I received the certification, a unique authentication ID, continuous education units. So for this being a 40-hour course, you divide it by 10. You have 4 CEUs that are applied. I can print the certificate out. I can save it to a file, print it to a nice printer, save it as a PDF and put it in a nice frame. Now with this, I can also, if I'm interested in seeing my score, I just go under the history here. And here I can see the Niagara 4 TCP. I passed, and there's my score for that particular class. Okay. We can also look at the upcoming instructor-led training. So we have kind of the ones that are coming up in the next couple of days. So here's the ones in the next 4 to 10 days. Okay. Again, I can always go to view all to see all the events based on a chronological order, but this is a nice way to kind of see which ones are coming up in the short term. We also have our popular self-paced e-learning. So everything from crossover to operator, analytics, you name it. So again, let's say I'm interested in taking the Niagara Analytics certification. I'll go and request that. And again, because I have to pay, I'll go into the administration and just approve that. Okay, so here we can see the Niagara 4 Analytics. Go and approve that. And so now when I come back in as my learner view, again, you can see now that request has been approved. And I can read the simple disclaimer, get started, and launch the asset. Okay, so this one has just some simple information to basically just saying that, since it's a certification exam class, that you're the one taking the course, not to be shared with somebody else. So get into the configuration. You also have your class files, as well as a copy of the software that you can kind of download. if needed. So again, as we go back, we can now see that that's also been added to my continued learning bin. Okay. Okay. At the bottom, we have all of our different Tridium resources. So if you want to go to the resource center, which has all our technical documents, you can go there. Direct links to things like the community and marketplace, licensing, you kind of name it, are all located right there. Also the contact us. So for instance, if you need to contact for North and South America, there's your phone number, here's the email. Just click on that and it'll invoke the email to mail that to, as well as for Europe and Asia Pacific. And then again, we take your information highly, very secure. It's very private. So we have our privacy statements, the ability to unsubscribe, our terms of use. Again, all this information is managed through a fully secure site with full cookie control and things like that. So again, all your information is extremely secure, and we don't share that information with anybody else. So with that, that's just a general overview of the university site. Danielle, what I'd like to do is maybe we'll take a look at some of the questions that have come into the queue.
Sure, no problem. There was actually just one question. It just says, does Tridium University have any e-courses on wiring, input, output, or sequence writing for different systems?
That one I may have to take on offline. From the wiring, it looks like, it's more getting into, we do have a class, and this may give you some basic knowledge, but it's not probably going to get into the actual physical wiring component of it. But we do have one that focuses on networks. So there's a guide to effective networking course. Okay. Again, it's a very small cost, but it gets into how you deal with host networks, LAN, WAN, client server, IP, and making the connections and things like that. It was put together by one of our tech support engineers. So you may want to check this one out. But on that specific aspect, as far as like the type of wiring that you would need and things like that, I'm not sure if it gets into that specifics. But again, this is a good overall course about networking with the Niagara system.
That's all the questions we have right now.
Okay. Well, again, we appreciate you taking time. And again, I would say just get in there, check out the getting started video. There's a lot of free training in there. Again, the key is, remember, your existing user login works with this system. We just changed the underlying learning management system, but it provides the same kind of login and password. So you should be able to just go in there. The other good thing is I just did want to highlight is that when we first launched this, we didn't have all the historical training records, but we do now have that. So for instance, I'll just pull up one of our users here, Vernon Peterson. So he's actually one of our certified trainers with MOV. So now with Vernon, I can actually, pretend to log in as him. So being an unrestricted admin, I have the ability to log in as this user. So we'll log in as Vernon. So here you can see in the profile, I'm now logged in as Vernon. If I go to my profile, here you can see all his various awards and his training that it's taken. So again, if he wants to pull up his certificate for the Niagara 4 Advanced, he can do that. And then just go ahead and print his certificate. So that's a wrap, I think. So again, we'll be getting the historical records for all the e-learning that folks may have signed up and taken over the last 7 years. That will be brought in hopefully by the end of this week, early next week. Again, we kind of launched it right before Christmas. We need to get the system set up, and you always bring in the existing legacy data as far as that goes after you've gone live with a system like this. I did see one hand raise. I didn't know if that person had a question. They could type it into the Q&A. It looks like Sahali Johari. Again, seeing if you had a question. Okay, but Danielle, I think we can give everybody 25 minutes back to their day and kind of wrap up the discussion today. So again, we appreciate you guys taking your time out of your busy schedule, and we'll be posting a recording of this. So if maybe a colleague couldn't come to this training, it should be up in, I think you said the next week or so, right? Danielle, we'll get that posted to tridium.com.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, thank you.